Thanks for joining us for the Member xCite presentation. The Member xCite presentation is informative, interesting to the audience, and showcases the strengths of the presenter as an entrepreneur and their area of expertise. It's not a sales pitch, it's a 10-minute educational and insightful exploration into what they do. And of course, it's exciting. Now today, because it's our launch event, I asked Matthew Pollard if he could come along and present to us all today, which I'm sure you'll be very thankful for. If you don't know Matthew, he is an absolute global guru. He's actually a good friend of BX and a good friend of mine as well. It's really exciting to have him on the call with us here today. And many of you would know Matthew Pollard from whether it's just from LinkedIn or you've seen him present or you've read his book. If you haven't read his book, you need to get your hands on a copy of it. He's sold about 100,000 copies of his book now. It's been put into, I think, over 15 languages, and it's called the Introvert's Edge series. And there's a couple of different books in the Introvert's Edge series, but you should get your hands on one of these because it will revolutionize the way you do networking. And it is a fantastic book. But he is an absolute global guru, and he is top of his class when it comes to sales. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our xCite presenter today, Matthew Pollard. Woohoo!
I think that the thing I really wanted to share today, and I really want to urge people as we go through further with BX, to put their name out to be a presenter for this. It's a great opportunity to be recognized. For those people that are a reader of my books, then you'll also realize it's a great opportunity to share one of your stories and really get people to see the value of what you do. But today, just because we're at a virtual networking event, and if you've seen my posts, you'll see that I'm so passionate about moving people out of transactional networking because it's not the thing that we enjoy doing. I mean, let's face it, as introverts like myself, or even extroverts that are selling their own product, they don't like the whole idea of going up and saying, hey, do you want to buy from me? What about you? What about you? And a lot of times when we go to networking events, both live and virtually, that tends to be what it is. Or we end up trying to be doing this thing I call aimless networking, where we kind of have these shallow conversations where I don't really brag about what I do because I don't want to big note myself. I don't want to be salesy. And the other person does the same. And then we swap business cards and we say to each other, you know what, you call me or I'll call you. And no one ever does, because the truth is that we don't really have time to catch up with all the people we do know already, let alone these new connections. So what I like to talk about a lot is what I call strategic networking. And when I look at strategic networking, what I look for is making different types of relationships. So when we go to networking events, more often than not, we're thinking the job of networking is to find a client. Or if we're looking for a job, we think the goal of networking is to get an employer to hire us or get an introduction to an employer. But the truth is that that's very transactional. It's very short term. Now, I will say that I'd like to think that most people are being a little bit more proactive about the networking. So if you've come here today because you need to get a deal by tomorrow because you're stuck in that hamster wheel of struggling to find interested people, trying to set yourself apart, trying to make the sale, negotiating on price if you have to, because gosh, we need a deal, we need to close it today, then any type of networking event you go to, you might need to stay in that transactional mindset. My goal is to make sure that you start networking way before that. And in truth, even if you go in with that I need a deal today mindset and say I need a deal this week as opposed to right now, that's going to prevent you from doing a sales pitch in a networking event, which, by the way, networking and sales pitches do not go together. Even if somebody says to you in the 10-minute round one-on-ones today, hey, I love what you do, I want to buy that, how do I do it? Do not start explaining it to what the process is and start talking about your fees. So, I really am glad to hear that. Let's set up another time to have that conversation. To me, though, really looking for those conversations is sticking you in that hamster wheel. And that's what I want to see everybody get out of. So yes, you have to be planned, you have to be prepared. And I was ecstatic to see so many people, especially, readers of my book and through Rapid Growth Academy, that have really nailed, that pitch to explain their value and to speak from passion and mission, which is great. But when somebody is talking with you, you're not looking for that person to be a client of yours. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't even be looking for them to introduce you to somebody that can be your client. Because when that person becomes the client, then you have to service that client. And that's as big as your network goes. For those people that know me from Austin, they know when I first got to Austin, I mean, I didn't know a soul, and I grew myself to being one of the most connected people in the city by, instead of looking for those transactional deals, I started to look for what I called champion relationships and momentum partners. So when you're doing these one-on-ones today, I want you to be thinking about who you are really trying to find that can make a massive difference to your business. And I want you to think who it is that you can introduce other people to that can make a massive difference to their business. And most people haven't even gone to LinkedIn, gone to their address book and really mapped who they have in their connections. Because truthfully, people have got leaders of associations, people that are on leadership boards, business owners, podcast hosts, chamber of commerce connections that they don't really know, but they've got loose connections with that they could introduce other people to solidify that relationship. But the two groups of people I suggest in networking that you focus on is finding these champion relationships. Champion relationships are the people that give your work credibility. When I go to Australia, somebody like Dale Beaumont gives my work credibility by suggesting to his people that they should check my work out. People like Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, endorses my work all the time. And because of that, he gives my work credibility. The founder of eMyth, Michael Gerber, gives my work credibility. And when I'm at networking events, if somebody has a connection that is meaningful, that can give my work credibility, that is one of the introductions that really makes a difference for me. And it may not be a globally well-known person, but to my niche, which is introverted service providers, if they're really well known there, that's huge. And that's why I'm looking for those types of connections, or I'm looking to give those types of connections because they make a huge impact on the business. Now, the next group is the group of momentum partners. And this is what I think makes the biggest difference. You know, when I meet somebody that could be a momentum partner for me, it is huge because and just to clarify what momentum partner means, it means that they are willing to share with me the people that they do business with because they believe in what I do and they're doing business with a similar demographic. And I'm willing to do the same for them because I believe in their work and I'm working with a similar demographic. Another example of a momentum partner might be somebody that is willing to introduce me to a whole bunch of podcasts because they believe in my work and they know all of these people. Somebody that's constantly willing to throw out introductions to truly help me. Now, when you're networking, these are the real people that make such a substantial difference to your business because you can go from meeting one person to being on 10 podcasts, and they can go from just meeting you to being on 10 podcasts. So what you really want to be looking for are those kind of relationships. So I always recommend, don't worry about somebody. Well, of course you want to welcome somebody that says, hey, I know this person that I think can work with you. And that will potentially happen in these rooms, and that's okay. But what you really want to be doing is saying, you know, I really think that you should be on this person's podcast. I really think that this person, perhaps they're an accountant and you're a business coach, and I think that you two should meet each other because this accountant tends to specialize with people that are high net worth individuals, and you seem to be a business coach for high net worth individuals. You two should totally meet. Now, the great thing about that is that when you're introduced, it's not the person receiving that introduction is, oh my gosh, I'm about to get sold to. It's, oh, this person can add value to my business and I can add value to theirs. And that's why it is so, so important. As a matter of fact, Matt and I got introduced through a momentum partner. I was speaking at a conference and the response that I got was, I really think that I should introduce you to Matt because, he runs a networking event and he talks about this thing called referral partnerships, and his entire networking event is based on that. And I, in my book, talk about momentum partnerships, which outside a few synonyms was exactly the same thing. Because of that introduction, Matt and I have then created a relationship, and that relationship has led me to bringing this event to the United States and, live soon into Austin, because we both believe in the work people are doing. We've been able to support each other and allow each other to succeed. Now, you can't create a momentum partner with somebody that doesn't give introductions back. You can't create a momentum partner from somebody that just takes from you. But if you can find someone that truly has that giving personality, which I'd like to think everybody here today has, that's willing to give because they know to give also means that other people will give to them, and is willing not to hold back, but to support with that abundance mentality, you will find that BX is a substantially transformative event for you, because we're not trying to sell to the person we're speaking to. We're just asking for introductions to people that do business with the people that we do business with, or the people that have connections with the media or partners that we could potentially further our relationships with people we do business with too. So that's all I'm going to give you in today's presentation, but I just want to take a second to thank everyone again for showing up today, and I really hope that you enjoy the one-on-ones. I really feel that if you don't get 1, 2, or even 3, transformative, game-changing introductions, let me know. I'd love to hear from you because I really think you do. And if you do, make sure you post in that comment that Terry shared, and I'll post it again here. Make sure you comment on that you've got some great introductions because I'd really love to hear about them. Thanks, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming events.